Hey guys, I'm so excited to be here today with Under the Roof, and we got some exciting things planned, but I wanted to take 1 second and just thank you. Last week at the end of the sermon, I announced that our church had the opportunity to get a grant, and that grant would be $5,000 for technical equipment, specifically for that, which I have to itemize. But the caveat was we had to raise $500 in order to get the $5,000. Well, through hearing from all of you and your heart for giving and seeing this church expand through social media and other means, you guys have raised that $500 for this church, and I am excited. And this week, I want you to know that I put in for the grant. So be praying as it goes forward. We'll know more information between the week of the 6th of May about what we got and when we'll get that. But I am so thankful to you guys, and I want to just let you know that I believe God is going to bless you for your giving heart. So thank you so much for helping this church and helping the kingdom of God grow. And now let's get back to a great episode of Under the Roof with Easy P and this good-looking guy, John.
Welcome back to Game Zone, everyone. I'm back here as well. So basically, I got a few more things in Minecraft to show you, like last episode. So yeah, why don't we just jump right into it? Here we go. Hey guys, what's up? I'm here again, and I'm going to be showing you a few things that I built in this past week. So yeah, I've been learning a lot about redstone, so I've been working on a few automatic farms. So yeah, there's just normal farms like over here, where basically you plant seeds over here into this, farmed dirt, whatever this is, and then it would go down here up to there and then give you wheat, right? See that these are wheat and seeds and all that. But yeah, that's what this would do, which is kind of slow. But over here I have automatic farms. So basically what they do is that you activate them and then you never have to touch them again, and they will give you infinite, stuff. So basically I'm going to show you first the sugarcane farm, the automatic sugarcane farm. So what I have here is a sugarcane on top of a dirt, which is surrounded by water, because sugarcane needs to be surrounded by water. And then I have this glowstone here just to give it direct sunlight for when it's nighttime. So basically, what the sugarcane does is it'll grow to 3 blocks high, and then this block right here, which is an observer, is it's going to observe it and then power the piston underneath it. So basically it falls into right here. As you can see, there is a minecart with a dropper in it, or a hopper, or whatever it is, and then it connects to this hopper and then into this dispenser, which I need to activate. Hold on. Alright, so basically I'm gonna activate it right here. Bam, it's gonna shoot out the sugar canes up into here. So this part isn't really needed, but I use this to get to my item sorter. So yep, it goes down into the wave of water and into this chest right here. As you can see, it's filling up. So I had 46 before, now I have 54, and it'll just keep filling up. But yeah, I think it's a pretty cool design for a tube, kind of like that. But yep, that's how the sugarcane farm works. And then over here, I want to show you is my cactus farm, which isn't very good. It's kind of messy, but it's the best I could get. So basically what I have here is I have double extending pistons, and when I flip this lever, it will extend down twice and then leave the bottom block so it could grow again, just like what this is doing. So I'm gonna flip it, see how it did that, and then I'm gonna do it again. And this is why it's not the best thing, because sometimes it'll get stuck onto the cactus like this. And here's the thing with cacti. So let's say I had like chicken, okay, and then I threw it against it. It'd disappear, because it's basically a living trash can. So that's one problem. So it never collects all of them. But when it does, it flows into this and all the way through here, all the way into this cactus sorter. So I don't know how many I got from that one. I'm assuming around 7, because that's what I normally get. But yeah, that's how it works. I think it's a pretty cool machine, and it does what it can best. And then over here, I never use this machine because it's too good. So this is a really messy machine, but it works really well. So what it does is it's a melon and pumpkin farm. Now the pumpkins I don't really worry about because they're pumpkins, but the melons, basically, you know, let me just show you, okay? So in here, I left the machine on for about 5 minutes, and yeah, it's almost full. So basically what you do is you gotta flick the lever, and then the pistons will extend and then unextend, or whatever you destend. And then you just drop it in here. But then, yeah, these stems here, they grow either left or right, so it's random, but it's works very well. So as you can see, this was already filled up, and now there's a whole nother stack. Yeah, that's how well it works. So basically, every time I turn it on, it gives me a full stack at least. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave that to there, and then that's basically all the farms I have for today. So yeah, thank you for tuning in. And then next week I'll be talking about what's new in the game. So as you can see here, I have early access to all this. So like all this new nether stuff. Like let's see here, Shroomlight, that was in the game before, right? Anywho, I'll be talking more about that next week and making some contraptions as well with it. So yeah, make sure to tune in next week for more Minecraft stuff, and I'll be talking to you guys, well, later. Bye.
Hey guys, are you feeling good today? Today's story time is amazing. You're going to love this. It's called God to the Rescue. So here's the question you have to answer on the other side of this video. You ready? What does it mean that God rescues us? What does it tell us about him that he would do that? Okay? All right, guys, enjoy today's story time. And the story is God to the Rescue. Here we go.
God to the rescue. Joseph and his brothers grew old and died. But their children's children stayed on in Egypt, where they became a very large family. Later on, a new king began to rule. But this Pharaoh didn't remember Joseph, and he didn't like God's people. He made them into his slaves and beat them and made them work harder and harder. God's people cried out to God to rescue them, and God heard them. He remembered his promise to Abraham. He would look after his people. He would find a way to set them free. One day, Moses was looking after sheep when something caught his eye. A bush was behaving very oddly. It was flickering with flames, but its leaves weren't burning up. He took a closer look. "Moses!" boomed a big voice. Moses leapt back. Well, the bush was talking to him. "I have heard my people's cries," God said. "I have seen their tears. So I have come down to rescue them. Go to Pharaoh and tell him to let my people go free." Moses was afraid, but God said, "I will be with you." So Moses went to Pharaoh. "Pharaoh," Moses began. "God says—" "God?" said Pharaoh. "Never heard of him." Moses kept going. "God says, let his people go free." "Why should I?" Pharaoh said. "Don't want to, won't." So he didn't. So God gave Pharaoh 10 warnings, called plagues. First, God turned the river Nile into blood. No one could drink the water. But still Pharaoh would not let them go. So God made frogs come hopping and leaping and jumping. In your bed frogs, in your hair frogs, in your soup frogs, all over everywhere frogs. "Make them go away!" Pharaoh screamed. "Then your people can go." So God took the frogs away. But Pharaoh changed his mind. "You can't go," he said. Then God sent zillions of gnats. But still Pharaoh said no. So then God sent swarms of flies, flies buzzing in your eyes, flies. And after that, sickness and horrible boils and huge hailstones and a storm of locusts. Then darkness when it should have been day, until it seemed that the whole world, creation, everything was coming undone, falling back into darkness and emptiness and nothingness. But each time Pharaoh said, "Make it stop and then I'll let them go." And each time when God made it stop, Pharaoh changed his mind and said, "Actually, no, you can't go." Well, finally Moses warned Pharaoh, "Obey God, or he will have to send the worst thing of all." And Pharaoh just laughed. So God said, "The oldest boy in each family of Egypt must die, but my people will be safe." God told his people to take their best lamb, to kill it, and to put some of its blood on their front doors. "When God passes over your house," Moses explained, "God will see the blood and know that the lamb died instead of you." That night, it was just as God had said. Suddenly, piercing the darkness, echoing down the corridors of the palace, came a blood-curdling scream. Pharaoh's oldest son had died. At last, Pharaoh did what God said. "Get out!" Pharaoh shouted. "Just go!" And so, that very night, Moses and God's people fled out of Egypt and out of slavery. They were free at last. God's people would always remember this great rescue and call it Passover. But an even greater rescue was coming. Many years later, God was going to do it again. He was going to come down once more to rescue his people. But this time, God was going to set them free forever and ever.
Holy cow, was that not amazing, guys? All the stuff that God would do to rescue his people because he loves them. And that's the thing we got to remember while we're stuck here in quarantine, while we're stuck inside, that even though all this stuff is happening around us, God has not left us, and he is working out a plan to fix all of this stuff that is going on, and he will rescue us too. God never forsakes us, and he never leaves us, and he always is there to rescue us. So let's remember to depend on him, to pray to him, and to know how much he loves us, that he would do that. All right, guys, I will see you in the next story time. Thanks for watching, and on to the next segment. Hey guys, guess what? It is another Bible Trivia Challenge with me, Pastor John. You're going to get 5 questions, and let's see if you can get them right. They're going to be sort of not too hard, but this is to challenge you to read your Bible and understand it and get that knowledge in you so you can take it with you in everyday life. So without me blathering, let's start right now with question number 1. Are you ready? Question number 1 is, who were the first 2 apostles to be called by Jesus? Who were the first 2 apostles to be called by Jesus? Are you ready? Take some time and let's figure it out together. All right, what did you come up with? The answer is, to the question, the first 2 apostles to be called by Jesus were Andrew and John. Did you get it right? That's all right. We got more. Hey, good job if you got it. If not, we got more, all right? So that's question number 1. What's question number 2? How much did Judas receive for betraying Christ? How much did Judas receive for betraying Christ? Are you ready? Here we go. My Jeopardy dance. All right. Whoa! Got away from me there. What is the answer to how much did Jesus Iscariot receive from betraying Christ? Let me throw you off. Was it gold? Was it silver? Was it denarii? Here's the answer. 30 pieces of silver. Come on, you knew that one. Good job if you got that one. Let's go on to question number 3 in today's Bible Trivia Challenge. All right, here we go. What artifact did Moses use to perform miracles and wonders in Egypt? What artifact did Moses use to perform miracles and wonders in Egypt? Now, I think this was in the video. Just saying. Here we go. Take a second. Here we go. Play the music. Here we go. Oh yeah, you didn't think I could move like this, did you? That's why my wife married me. All right. What artifact did Moses use to perform miracles and wonders in Egypt? The answer is a wooden staff. Remember, he turned it into a snake and that kind of thing. I think that's in our story. Well, let's go. Let's keep moving forward. I know, taking lots of time. Question number 4. Are you ready? And here we go. What was the first plague that befell Pharaoh of Egypt? Now, that was definitely in our story time today. What was the first plague that befell Pharaoh of Egypt? Take a second. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm doing the snake. I'm doing the snake. I go this way and that way. Vogue. Vogue. All right. That was my dancing. Don't get too excited about that. Anyway, here we go. What was the first plague that befell Pharaoh on Egypt? The answer is water turned into blood. Ew! Thicko, I'm not going swimming there. Okay, here we go. Last question. Could be hard, could be simple. You never know. Let's see what you got. How are you doing at this point? Do you got 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5, 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5, 4 out of 4, 3 out of 4? What's your score right here? Here we go. In what river did John the Baptist conduct his baptisms? In what river did John the Baptist conduct his baptisms? And away we go! All right. You're welcome for that. What other pastor does that? Anyway, here we go. In what river did John the Baptist conduct his baptism? The answer is the Jordan River. Come on with it. Hey, you guys, thank you so much for the Bible Trivia Challenge. How did you do? Did you get 100%, 90%, 80%, 60%? It doesn't matter. Long as we're learning together and having some fun. Love you guys. And now, what? To our next segment, guys. I'll see you next time.
Hey guys, welcome back to What to Watch. So this is another segment where I get to tell you guys 2 movies. Well, at least this time. Last time I told you 2 YouTubers and a movie, but this time I'm telling you 2 movies. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So the first movie we have for today is Lion King. Now, it's the live-action one, so if you haven't seen it yet, you've basically already seen it. If you know what the original Lion King's about, that's what this one's about. It's literally the same thing, but live-action. Lion King is it's got new actors, new everything. It's wonderful. It looks super realistic, and I think it's probably one of the best movies of last year. When I saw it, it was in a drive-in theater with Toy Story 4. So I watched 2 movies back to back. So that was really cool. That was my first drive-in experience, but yeah, that was pretty nice. So basically, you can get it on Disney Plus and Amazon and all those guys. The next one is Dr. Dolittle. So this is the new one. If you saw the original with Eddie Murphy, it's... I don't know, I haven't seen that one yet, but... Anyway, Dolittle's about being an animal doctor. He just basically retired until these 2 kids showed up and they went on this huge adventure, and I don't want to spoil it at all, but it was a really fun movie to watch, and it's definitely for kids as well. So yeah, you could find that on Amazon and Vudu and whatever you got, but it's not on Disney Plus yet. Hopefully it will be, but as of now, no. But anyway, that's all I got for today. So yeah, I'll be back next week with more movies or more YouTubers or whatever I got. All right. Well, I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.
Hey guys, if anybody is like me, you are bored in quarantine, but I've had the privilege to get to record an album over the winter, and it got interrupted by this quarantine. And so I did some vocal tracks yesterday, and thought I'd perform a song off the new album that's coming out at the end of summer. It's called Awake. I see the night in the darkness. I see the light in your eyes. I see the cracks through your window. Comes through the rain in your eyes. I see the depths, you are shallow. I feel the weight of the sky. I live all that you swallow. Comes through the rain in your eyes. Wake up before you shut your eyes. How many lives are these lives? Wake up before you shut your eyes, before you're left with just one. I see the kid in these old eyes. I will now watch dreams die. I hear the tickle in your ear. With every tear it grabs life. Hey, wake up before you shut your eyes. get out of your head. Hey guys, this is John here. I'm so excited you're watching another Under the Roof. I wanted to give you a word of encouragement. As you can see, I'm sitting out in front of the church. No, I'm just kidding. But listen, in this time, I wanted to give you just a word of encouragement, and I always try to challenge you with something to think about. And today, what I'm thinking about is during this time of suffering, during this time of quarantine, during this time when we're worried about jobs and provision and all of our family, our kids, their education, the future, all of it, it's easy to sort of get lost in the idea of where is God in all this. But as we look at the New Testament, I want to encourage you that there was a time when Jesus came, that there was like a 400-year gap in between the Old Testament and when Jesus came. And why am I telling you that? Because the Old Testament was all these promises and prophecies about a coming Messiah. And then when the New Testament arrives, the Israelites, who were God's people, find themselves suffering and in captivity to Rome. And in that, they were looking for the Messiah, but they had brought their own ideas, their own presuppositions and inferences about who he would be and what he would do. And that sort of messed things up. And so what am I telling you? Well, what I'm telling you is, just like the Israelites, we have our own inferences about who God is and what he should do and how he should act during times of captivity and suffering and even quarantine. And so while you might be fearful of the future, what you need to know is that even though God might be silent, he is working. He always has been working. It's part of who he is. And we can understand this in the coming of Christ. So let me ask you a question, just real quick. What do you think Jesus' mission was? He was sent by God, but what was his mission? Now, a lot of people think it was discipleship. That's really what he handed to us after he fulfilled his mission. What his mission was to come and die. And why am I telling you that? Well, the inferences that the Israelites brought to Jesus when he came, the Messiah of the whole world, was one, that he was going to come in this right-handed power with a sword to overtake all the enemies of Israel as they saw their enemies to be. And the problem when we bring our presuppositions to God is in our presuppositions of what he should do and who he should love and who he should get and all these kind of things, we always exclude ourselves. And what we find is all of us have fallen short of the glory of God. And we often look for glory. We often want to participate in glory, but glory alone belongs to God. And that's because the mission of God was fulfilled by Jesus in his death. The mission of God was Jesus' death, and Jesus' mission was to come and die. And that's suffering, just like we're going through right now. We're suffering in this time of quarantine. And regardless of what you think or how you think or what you think should happen or how smart we all think we are, on the other side of it, we find that God is always working and that God is sort of right. And I'm telling you that just as Israelites had their ideas about who Jesus was supposed to be and what he was supposed to do, God defied all of it by bringing Jesus and his mission to a cross to cut out the weeds of our heart that we plant all over this world. And so, what am I getting at? In this time of suffering, let's not look for what we think Jesus should do. Let's take a look at what he's doing. What is he doing in your life right now? What are you realizing about yourself when you're isolated with your family? About your wife or about your husband, about your kids? About what you want to do, about what you should do, about your relationship with God? You see, Jesus' mission was to come and die on a cross, but he calls us to that same cross. That there's some things and areas in our life that doubt, that don't meet Jesus in faith where he asks us to meet us and come and die to these things so that we may have life. And I want to suggest that although we're quarantined and although we're feeling that isolation of quarantine, and missing each other, that God is working in you, that God is working in your children. The emotions that arise up, the feelings that arise up, good or bad, show us something about what we believe in God and what our children are believing and what we're putting in front of our children as they believe in something, which I hope is Jesus, their only hope. Guys, God has not forsaken us in this time, and we have our ideas about what he should do and what he should be doing at this moment. But I want to suggest to you that we should take Jesus as he is and meet him there by faith and trust him in this time of, quote, captivity, so that we can find who we are in this time, so that on the other side of this, we know what to do and how to behave and what discipleship is about and what the things that God has called us to, what's important. This is a great time to prioritize that we understand that our jobs are important, that our family is important, that Jesus in those things is extremely important, and our relationship with God is super important. You guys, God works in suffering, and we have a promise that he will never forsake us and never leave us. And so let's join him in this time, and let's join him on his mission to look at ourselves before him and go, you know what, I've been a little testy. I've been a little short with my kids. And I've given myself a lot of grace. Let's turn that around and go, those areas that were short and those areas that were a little testy, let's give those to God and ask him to work in our heart. Let's sit around and, for example, pray together at meals. Let's pray together just to put God before the things that we long for, and understand that when we do these, there's life. Jesus, God, let me put it this way. When God created the heavens and earth, it was out of the void that he brought light. When Jesus came, he was light into the darkness. When we die to the things that God is calling us to, like fear and this idea that we're suffering and all the things that go along with it, our worries, we die to those, we put them on the cross, we step forward in faith. He brings light and life. And I'm telling you that God loves you, and he has not forsaken you, and he wants to bring light and life in your situation, even during quarantine, especially during quarantine. Isn't it peaceful to know that Jesus came to a captive people and he freed them, but he didn't do it the way they thought he would do it? So he's going to do that in this situation. I love you guys. I miss hanging out with you guys. Thanks for watching this episode of Under the Roof. And until the next time, God bless you, and know that God's loving you. And I'm praying for all of your families every week. Bye, guys.